Remake culture. It's all around us. From the games we play to the shows we loved, everything's getting redone. And really, it was only a matter of time before I got involved. You see, for the past 4 years, one request for this channel has eclipsed all others. Mika, your top video needs to be reborn. Indeed, in spite of the plethora of high-effort reviews, analyses, challenges, and predictions that now occupy this channel, my most influential work remains untouched. The worst Animal Crossing villager in every species. A refined masterwork displaying possibly my most nuanced examination of the Animal Crossing series to date. However, even the Mona Lisa has faded with time. Like any masterpiece, this video was not invincible. Held to today's standards of quality, it was obvious that improvements could be made. So, that's what we're doing today. For the first time in channel history, we're doing something again, but better. I'm a different man than I was in 2020, stronger, wiser, and I believe the results will be a far more authentic and accurate selection of animal critiques. All 500,000 of you better pull up for round 2. With that said, let's do this. Okay, starting us off as if I could begin with any character other than Marcel. Be thankful that I have 35 different species to get through. I could spend an entire video talking about this guy. Where do I even begin with properly conveying the complete and utter hatred I have for this truly repulsive being? Marcel exists in a box no other Animal Crossing villager is capable of touching, an inescapable prison of his own creation, surrounding himself with near physical walls of pure awfulness. No effort is made to escape this self-inflicted incarceration. In fact, even if he wanted to, I'm not sure he could. It's very possible that, like a machine without an off switch, Marcel's dreadful nature is simply self-sustaining. No end is in sight for a man of this horrible a caliber. Marcel breaks new ground every day, somehow cementing himself as more of a nuisance, bother, and plague with every additional second he remains functional. I say functional and not alive because the latter feels horribly inappropriate for the context of this monster. What does it mean to be alive? One might argue that it's a literal thing. If you're breathing, talking, moving around, you're a living being. Marcel proves that it can't be the case. He talks, though he has nothing important to say. He moves, when his lazy self isn't more interested in making other people do things for him, but that doesn't make him alive, at least not to me. To live means to love, to care, compassion, empathy, forming connections with other people and the world around you. Marcel does none of these things. I've seen plants with more sensitivity and understanding than him. And to circle back for a second, calling him functional might be an overstatement as well. When I hear functional, I think of a well-oiled machine, programmed to perfection in whichever task it was built to excel within. It's flawless, it's seamless, every gear, every screw working hand in hand for the end goal and betterment of society. Marcel doesn't work. And I don't mean that he's lazy, though he is a bum. I mean that in a mechanical sense, he's barely operational. He can't do anything that doesn't involve stealing oversized lollipops from babies and crushing the dreams of children. And you know what? If that was all he was about, fine. If Marcel wants to be the horrible person he so clearly wants to be, at least I and the rest of sensible society can choose to stay as far away from him as possible. But Marcel isn't satisfied in just being terrible. No. That wouldn't twist the knife deep enough. He needs to masquerade his intentions. He needs to pretend. Marcel doesn't find joy in being animal scum and ruining the lives of anyone he so much as passes on the street. He finds joy in pretending as though he's a decent person, only to stab you in the back. He's not ignorant to his impact on this world, he's malicious, going out of his way to inflict as much emotional damage as possible, sporting a grin all the while. It's like watching your friend tell you a knock-knock joke while they tear a hole in your wall with a pickaxe. And that's the thing, I can't even fully delve into what he's done. He still holds this power. He knows that in having to elaborate on his heinous actions, I'd not only be forced to relive them, but the world would know of my shame. They would know of my weaknesses that he exploited. So I keep my mouth shut, forced to bear dozens, hundreds of "what did Marcel do" comments while he looks on with a sadistic smile. He knows what he did, and he knows that should it be disclosed, he still wins. There is no losing for men like Marcel in situations like these. They consider every option, play their cards in every formation to ensure that not only do they come out on top, but that everyone else rots under them as they do so. Marcel is ruthless and vindictive, absorbing all the joy and whimsy from those surrounding him to prop up his own revolting self. Green is often said to be the color of hope, rebirth, a shade of new beginnings, elevating onlookers with the beauty of creation and life. This is all part of Marcel's facade. He doesn't encompass any of the traits his hue would imply, nor does he stand for them. Instead, like all aspects of his being, he uses it as a weapon. A false sense of security to subvert when it's time to throw you under the bus. A vehicle he is somehow also driving because he'd never miss an opportunity to commit more physical harm to good people like you and me. According to his card, Marcel is Animal Crossing villager number 191. I became fixated on this, certain that analyzing these digits could give me some sort of indication as to why this dog solely exists to destroy the hard work of others. Spirituality didn't bring me anywhere. Any positive metaphysical traits associated with the number seemed to once again be parts of the mask Marcel shows to the world while he secretly plots its downfall. But then I started thinking about ciphers, codes, and A1Z26 made the most sense. In this context, the meaning of 191 became clear. AIA, or more accurately, always inflicting agony. This is it. His goal, his purpose, the mission etched into his very being. Cause as much harm as possible. Manipulate those yet to be affected into thinking that they're safe, and moreover, that those who have fallen victim to you are in the wrong. Marcel has been a thorn in my side for almost a decade at this point, and even in absence, he continues to threaten my happiness. He knows that he holds a certain perpetuality in the minds of his victims, burning his ghastly, atrocious visage into anyone who refuses to give in to his delusions of grandeur. What happened on March 26, 8 years ago wasn't enough for him. He had the gall and audacity to do what he does best and dump a heaping pile of salt into the already gaping wound. You think I'm exaggerating? You think I'm going too far? You haven't seen how he feels about me. The lengths he'll go to inflict dread and misery and chaos wherever I go. He transcends the world of the game to accomplish this. I go back to experience city folk after falling in love with a series. Marcel. I open up my campsite in New Horizons. Marcel. I unwrap one of my very first sets of amiibo cards. Marcel. Smirking, laughing, taunting me in my every waking moment, just begging, pleading that I make his sins known to the world so he can laugh even more. Well, I'm onto you, Marcel. You may have the world fooled, you may have your gullible lackeys ready to question my undying hatred for your character, but I see through it. I see through you. And the universe does too. Did you know that because his birthday is on December 31st, Marcel is the only Animal Crossing villager incapable of celebrating New Year's? A time of life and love, a commemoration of the future that we all share. He cannot partake. Because the universe knows who he is, what he is. It knows that he leaves a trail of pain and loss wherever he goes, that he's a threat to life itself. So he stays inside, trapped in that aforementioned self-made prison, watching the world he detests so greatly move on from his tyranny. Does he feel left out? Does this being of pure malice hold some form of emotional reasoning for his actions? At this point, after everything I've been through, everything he's put me through, I can't say. But it doesn't matter. I don't care, and neither should you. So long as he is who he is, so long as he is Marcel, he'll be punished. Punished by the world he's attempted to fool into believing he's something he's not. A person. And while that box of hatred and hostility he surrounds himself in may offer surface-level protection from those who oppose him, it's corrosive. The walls are closing in, and I don't think Marcel has an escape route. Okay, moving on to cats.